What if Skylar had given Walt the okay at the start of Breaking Bad? Ozark, starring Jason Bateman, Linney, Sofia Hublitz, Skylar Gaertner, Garner, Jason Butler Harner, Esai Morales, and created by Bill Dubuque and Mark Williams. The Netflix original show centers around a family on the run. To a degree, Jason Bateman's character is an investment banker who lives in Chicago, who launders money for the Mexican drug cartel. His partner has been stealing money from the cartel, and now Marty is stuck in the middle. He comes up with a way to pay the cartel back, but now he must re-launder the money in a location away from Chicago. Marty convinces the drug boss Del to allow him to launder the money at the Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri. Marty, looking for a way to stay alive, promises to launder more money than he was currently doing at the new location, away from the prying eyes of the FBI. Ozark tells a fairly traditional crime story, but the great characters and unique perspective from the money launderer make for a great first season of television. The series hinges on the performances of Jason Bateman and Linney. Both are fantastic in their roles, and the relationship they portray rings true on some level. Their marriage is on the rocks regardless of the dangerous situation they find themselves in. The progression of their story and how they manage the marriage is just as riveting as the crime drama portion of the story. There isn't a root cause for why Kenny's character, Wendy, does what she does at the start of the season. A reason is given later in a flashback episode, which fills in some of the blanks for her initial actions. She is a flawed character, but most people are, and her actions are at least understandable to a degree, even if most people find what she did was wrong. Bateman as Marty is also relatable. If put in a similar situation to be financially set for life, I think most everyone would at least take a pause on if they would help criminals. Most would say no, I think, but the temptation would be there. The risk he puts his family in because of those choices aren't worth the stability in the long run. What is several $1,000,000 if your entire family is killed by the people you're helping? Marty must grapple in the show with the decisions he has made and must fight to keep his family alive. The difference between him and Walter from Breaking Bad is Marty doesn't have the hubris. He's smart and he knows it, but he is also extremely practical. He doesn't spend the money he is making. He drives a modest car and lives in the same house as before he started making the money from the cartel. It's this practical nature and his ultimate desire to keep his family safe which makes him relatable. You want him to keep his family safe and find a way to launder the money. He also can be tough and shrewd to accomplish his task. He's not a fighter in the traditional sense, but he knows how to think to get past a situation. What he has to do also isn't easy, and he struggles at every turn. The show is very much about actions having consequences, and every subsequent choice Marty makes seems to dig him in a deeper hole. The rest of the cast also do good jobs. Sofia Hublitz and Skylar Gaertner do great jobs as the Byrde kids. I like how both characters reacted to the situation. Neither have much of an arc, but they process the circumstances in interesting ways. The boy Jonah does some things which might bother some, but I think they make sense for the situation he finds himself in. Charlotte reacts like an older teenager by not wanting to be uprooted from her life. I like how tough she was in the show. This goes for both kids. They don't shrink away from going to a new place and being told their dad helps drug dealers. They process and react. The other standout for the show is Gardner as Ruth. She plays a redneck family leader who initiates crime schemes. She's smart and becomes Marty's right hand to a degree for most of the show. She takes some actions which I never saw coming. There were a few times the narrative surprised me for the show. The characters being interesting and unpredictable kept me guessing on what was going to happen next. The only character who didn't hit home for me was the FBI agent portrayed by Jason Butler Harner. Harner did a good job in portraying what the character was supposed to be, but I don't think the character worked for the show. He was unhinged, and I think a more straight-laced FBI agent would have worked. They should have either gone with a more traditional agent or gave more backstory on why he was unhinged. We only get one backstory episode, and we still don't know why he went from how he was in that episode to where we see him for most of the season. I did like the relationship he established with Ruth's uncle, but he was unhinged before this started, and we should have seen why to better understand his actions. His was the only character which didn't fit the show. Maybe the decision to make him unhinged was to make sure we root for the family, but I think a more traditional zealous agent would have done this as well. The show does have a few other negatives, and one is the conveniences found in the plot. Every decision Marty makes seems to step into another bad guy's small pond. It's a little unbelievable, but it works for the story and keeps up a good pace for the show. It doesn't take too much away from the story, but it is a small issue. Another small gripe is how the show uses flashbacks in some of its episodes. It's not exactly clear where events happen in those stories. The episode which had the most confusing flashbacks was the episode which flashed back before most of the season's narrative started. There wasn't any any need to jump around like they did in that episode. These were the only 2 complaints I had for the show besides the FBI character. Overall, it's a fun show to watch, which will get you invested in the characters and how they manage their situations. Give Ozark a shot on Netflix if you like a good crime drama. It has great characters and an interesting story which will leave you guessing on many occasions. Hopefully the show gets a second season so we get to see where the characters go. The show left some good cliffhangers which I would like to see get answered. Comment and let me know if you've watched Ozark and what you thought. If you haven't, what's your favorite Jason Bateman performance? Like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Thanks for watching.